Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another episode, of the Suffolk Non-League Show. We are live once again across Facebook, across Twitter, and across YouTube. This is the only way that I knew what day we were on. This is knowing that this show was coming up. You know, we're in that interim period between Christmas and New Year where no one quite knows what they're doing and what they're waking up for. But I'm glad that we are live. And as I said, we are ready to do this once again. I'm obviously joined by Adam, as always. How you been, my man? How was Christmas for you and the Wade household?
Oh, it's good fun. Yeah, good fun. We settled for having our Christmas with our friends in the end. So that was very different and all good. Didn't have a Christmas dinner, had an all-day buffet.
Right, okay.
I ate so many sausage rolls, it was unbelievable. So yeah, no, I had a really good day, to be honest, and I think I was just exhausted from mixing with people again.
Yeah,
and like having interaction with people. So
hard, isn't it? So hard.
It was really good, but the really sad thing was like saying goodbye to those people at the end of the day.
Oh, you big softy.
No, it was sad because then it's like, well, now you're just stuck with our own company and finding things to do again for.
Yeah, you see, I'm the opposite. Once I've had that day, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Right, I'm ready to go home now. It's too much. I'm done. 7 o'clock. Like, see you later, guys. See ya. Bye.
Well, the thing is, though, before all these lockdowns and stuff, we'd do things with friends and that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, true.
So, like,
very true.
It's quite odd, really. It really was. Like, we're back to that thing of like knocking on people's doors and having to stand 50 yards apart and shout a loudspeaker at people.
Which is what we did this morning. Which is what we did this morning.
Merchandise, did you, James?
I did, yes. As you guys can see, Suffolk Non-League Show. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Your Shirts, for sending those bad boys over to us. We've got a hoodie, a coat, and a bobble hat, which is absolutely incredible. And more is on the way, apparently, which is so good. But yeah, massive shout out because this is unbelievably comfortable. Probably one of the comfiest hoodies I've ever had in my entire life. It's brilliant.
This hoodie is vegan, apparently. Of all things that you can have vegan, this is a vegan hoodie.
How is that even possible?
Goodness knows.
Deary me. Before we get too much into the stream, just a very quick word from our sponsors. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors on the Suffolk Non-League Show: Starling and Lock, Matchday Marketing, GBS, Your Shirts, and Clabber Creative. GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. Starling & Lock, a self-employed electrician in the Stowmarket and Suffolk area since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. An NIC/EIC member. Matchday Marketing, sports marketing and branding company, helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. Your Shirts, eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. Clabber Creative is a creative agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They are about giving your club a professional image and the ongoing support to maintain it. Links for all of these companies will be in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you. And just a very quick reminder on that part, the Clabber Creative competition to win a club website for your club is still going. It is going till the 4th of January. The tweets are still going out, and you can scroll through my timeline to find the tweet. In fact, what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this week is I will pin the next scheduled tweet about this on my timeline so that if you want to enter this competition to win your club a website, make sure you do it. You can have one entry per person, but as many entries for your club as you want. So the more people you get signed up from your club, the better chance you will have of winning a website. I think for the guys who already have a website done by Club of Creative, they will know and they will be able to tell you how good these guys are. So if you want, as I said, if you want to be in with a chance of that, there will be a scheduled tweet going out about it. So that was just your friendly reminder about it. Also want to say a big thank you to, once again, all of our partner clubs. A massive appreciation to all of those guys for the work that they do throughout Monday, basically sending out the messages saying that we are live and letting as many people know as is possible on there. If you want to become a partner club, all you have to do is drop Adam a message via Twitter. He's had his Christmas break. He's now back up and running. I can assure you that he will respond to your DMs from this moment onwards. So
I will.
If you want to become a partner club like these guys are on the page here, just make sure you hit up Adam as well. Again, massive shout out to all of our Patreon members. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it is a monthly optional service you can put in towards any content creator. So anything from as little as £1 a month, you can put towards the running costs of the channel. If you want to help support that, there are many different payment tiers you can do, and you can cancel it at any time. So go over to patreon.com/DeeJam and become a Patreon member, just like these legends have on the screen here. If you would rather do one-off donations like all of these guys have, and we've got 2 names added onto there of Connor and Jordan over the Christmas period, which is really, really appreciated. You can make one-off donations by going to kofi.com/non-league-nosh, where you can put money towards the running costs of the channel like these absolute legends have over here. So let's get your comments up on the screen. I can already see there's quite a few of you in, which I didn't expect tonight, to be honest. I didn't know what the reception was going to be. Obviously, as I said, we are in that interim period, so massive, massive appreciation to all. Just to say as well, if there are any issues, as Daniel says on the screen here, with Sky, I apologize. There is literally nothing I can do. I am with Sky. So if there are any issues with the stream, I might just have to drop out and Adam just leads the way tonight. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. As I said, so far, touch wood, fingers crossed and all that, we seem to be absolutely fine. So Shem is in the building. Evening, mate. Hope you're all right. Matchday Marketing. Good evening, gents. Thank you very much again for your work this year, my man. You've been absolutely superb on that. Callie H, evening all. Vinny's in the building as well. Alex Eggleton. Well, there's loads of the regulars. Fresh hoodies. Just Joel Windsor. Yes, mate.
Thanks, Joel.
Absolutely loving this. Absolutely loving it. You like the hoodies as well, don't you, mate?
100% do. Your shirts have absolutely pulled it out of the bag. Like the turnaround for these was like a week.
Really? Was it?
Yeah. So all sorted and delivered to my door personally in a week.
Nicely done. Jordan Mays is here. Evening, gents. Evening, Jordan. I hope you're all right. And thank you very much for your Ko-fi donation recently. Massively appreciate it, Jordan. Really do respect that. Sean Tellman, evening all. Hope you're all right. Mike Oakley's in the building. Evening all. Jamie Sandlands, as always. Jamie, hope you're doing well, my friend. What have we got on here? Vinny, for vegan hoodies taste horrible, apparently. I'll let you know. Alex, evening, gentlemen. Hope you had a lovely Christmas. Alex, yes, I did. It was weird. It was very weird. Naturally, because of the rules, half the family didn't turn up, which was odd. We're usually I'm one of five siblings, so it's just to have half of us not there was just a very odd day. But it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. And obviously, moving into tier 4, there was no Boxing Day reunion for the people that normally didn't show up or weren't only there. So it's been weird, but it is what it is. Evening, gents from Maverick UK. Hope you're all right, my man. We are missing football. You're damn right we're missing football. I was due to go to Trimley today. I was due to go to Trimley Red Devils versus Claydon. I had the game organised for a month. Right? I messaged Trimley ages ago and said, right, the 28th, I'm getting booked in with you. I'm sick and tired of you lot messaging me saying, right, when are you coming to a game? When are you coming to a game? So I booked it in. Typical. Going to tier 4.
Now you've said that, Brantford are going to really be on your case.
Oh, God, yeah. But isn't every club? It's ridiculous how much requests we get. Evening, Glenn. Hope you're doing all right, my man. Bucks, evening, lads. Let me and Goldie know early if the chairman is sacking us live. Brilliant.
We haven't had an insult, mate. We haven't had any insults from him. Haven't heard anything bad. So
no, I think you're all right. Follow the Trawler Evening, guys. Looking forward to the Adam Solo show. So am I.
Oh,
It'll be nice to have a break, to be honest. Paul Granger, good day, Bruce's. Ben Fraud, evening all. Yeah. So thank you so much for everyone that has joined. It's we really, really do appreciate it. As I said, we're in that interim period where a lot of people are, obviously we're now in tier 4, so the normal plans that people would do have all been cancelled, etc. But for those of you who have turned up, it's great to see a lot of our regulars listening in. If you are watching this on Twitter, make sure to give the video a retweet. Facebook, share it onto your timelines, and if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up. It just helps the channel go a long way. Adam, I suppose we should really start off with the news about tier 4. Did not see this coming, if I'm being honest, because I've kind of switched off from the news a little bit recently. I don't know if other people are the same, but I stopped kind of watching the daily updates and keeping an eye on certain things, and I was in that mindset of, well, we're annoyed that we're in tier 2. We should be in tier 1 because of how good our rate was. And then it's just gone stupidly high. And all of a sudden we're back in tier 4. And I don't know. I think this one hit me worse than the other two, if I'm being honest. This one really, really affected me. I had a bit of a lull when that announcement was made. How have you kind of reacted to it, and the news that, again, football's been put on hold once again?
Yes, I was certainly not immune to the news as such. Like, I've been watching with interest, like partly because of my other half's vocation, what she does. I think for me, it felt like a matter of time before some change, because all you kept hearing of locally was increasing cases in the local area and stuff. And I guess, it's just so frustrating to be back in this position where you kind of feel like you need an excuse to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people feel the same as me on that, but I kind of feel like I can't really legitimately leave my house unless I have a very, very valid excuse to. And if I do leave my house, there's this whole thing of I don't even want to be near people when I go out. Like, just because. I don't know. It just feels weird. Like, it's starting to become difficult to remember normality and remember what it was like to just wander around and not really have a care in the world, and not have to say before you go out the door, have you got your mask? Or
I have to admit, though, that kind of normality for me was football. I know we had to sign in to the different places that we went to, but when I was watching a game of football, I wasn't worried. And if people kind of came up to us, they kept their kind of distance, to be fair to a lot of people. So I was never really that worried, because obviously you're out in the open. And I don't know, my mindset was just, I'm at football, I'm here to enjoy myself. I don't want to be thinking about everything going on. So for me, that was my escape. And now we're back into this, into tier 4 again, where I think obviously they've got their meeting on the 30th to then decide what's going to be coming next. And if Daniel is right about tier 5's incoming, then Christ above, I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to be like. But I don't know. I said this one's hit me worse, and like this is the one I'm struggling mentally to kind of get my head around. Do you know what I mean?
The problem I've had is that I've been off work since the 15th of December with holiday. Right. Go back tomorrow for a day, and then I'm back off again, which is, I've forgotten how to do my job by this point. But I feel like I'm just everything's just a big mush. Like, ever since lockdown started, really, I've been like getting through the week by remembering what day is bin day. The bin day isn't even the same this week. It's been Sunday for 4 weeks. I always count. I just don't know what's going on. But it's about the whole thing that I've learned through all of this is it's making the most of what's in front of us. Like, making the most of things that don't cost anything, learning in life that you don't have to pay a load of money to enjoy yourself. And that has gone down as far as football, because SIL football I didn't watch at all for the last 3 years at all. I watched none of it. And I've even learned that I can go and stand on the edge of a field and enjoy my football just the same and not pay to get in and not pay for a burger because they don't have burger facilities. Like, and that goes up then as far as like taking Finley out. I don't need to pay sort of 70 quid for us all to get in the zoo and have a day out, because I can just wander down the road and I want to say see animals all over the place.
Ducks in Stowmarket, let's be honest.
I was thinking of residents, to be honest, but no, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He can have fun at the duck pond and stuff like that. There are things to do that you don't have to pay money for. And I think we've all got to be a bit more patient, maybe a bit more appreciative of what's in front of us, and try and make everything an adventure where we can.
Yeah. Bill's in the building. Evening, mate. Hope you're doing a Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas. I hope yours went really well, mate. Dan has said, I don't understand how men's football has been cancelled, but under 18s and kids can carry on. I think there was another announcement today that primary schools are okay to go back, and so are year 11 and 13s, but everybody else has kind of got to work, got to be school from home, which again, I'm not a scientist, so I don't really quite understand it. Vinny Ford has put introduction of mass testing. Suddenly, the positive rise. Surely it has to be expected. The percentages of tests returning positive have not increased, only the number of positive tests. Follow the trawler. So I put out a poll there. You might have seen and interested to hear what you think. Do you reckon in reality that this season is now done? It got a near 50-50 response, and I must admit I'm now erring on the side of negativity. And Psychic Sports Evening, chaps, hope you're doing all right. Just on that point, before we came on, Adam, and before yourself and obviously Stephen, who we've got waiting to come on and I'll bring on in just a few moments, I've been doing a little doodling on just with some dates, right? I didn't tell you I was going to be doing this, right? So
you do this every week. You do something really random and stupid without telling me.
This isn't stupid. This is not stupid, right? In the SIL, if the season is due to end at the point of the 2018-2019 season that it did, right? We have got 19 weekends left now to when that season finished, right?
Right.
So if we say, for argument's sake, that we're not going to get any football played in January whatsoever, January is a write-off, and we hope that February might be the starting point, right? Because let's face it, January is a bit up in the air at the moment. I don't really think anything's going to be happening. So you're taking 5 weekends away from that, right? So you've got 14 weeks left from the beginning of January to fit in games of football if you want it finished on that certain point. Now, in the SIL Senior, the worst case scenario is that we have to fit 25 games into 14 weekends. Right? The best case scenario is 22 games in 14 weeks. So it can't be done.
Well, it can. You could park your cars around the edge of the pitch and put the lights on. No, that is literally the only way that's getting done.
So we're going to have to extend the season, right? And again, in the worst case scenario, this is presuming that there are no postponements whatsoever between February the 1st and the end of the season. If every team plays every single weekend in the SIL, the worst case scenario is that we have our season finish on the 19th of June, and the best case scenario is the 29th of May. So that's no COVID postponements, no waterlogged pitches, no frozen pitches, no postponements whatsoever, right? So that's the SIL. Furlough none. If we go along the same basis, we've got 14 weekends left, right? The worst case scenario in the Prem is that we need to get 31 games in there. So you could say Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. But again, there's no postponements. And 25 games is the best case scenario. Right? So that's a lot of numbers. And I know I've just chucked a lot of stuff at you, right? But realistically, going back to this point, is the season going to be finished? Realistically, now, and especially from an SIL perspective, where you haven't got floodlights, you can't play midweek games for a lot of teams. You're either going to have to go to a higher league team to rent the pitch off them. They're going to then be going, well, actually, we need to finish off our fixtures as well. So you can't have those facilities for whatever reason. Unless we extend the season, which then, how long do you then say you're going to extend it for? this season, realistically, I don't know how it can be finished. And I'll get Stephen on in a minute to kind of just, to give his point on that before we get into what's going on at Ipswich Wanderers. But now that I've said that to you, mate,
yeah,
I think this is where the reality for me has finally set in. Is that it is going? This then backs up my point when we had, I can't remember the bloke from Suffolk FA's name now. That's the one. When we had him on the show, and I said, "Well, why are we playing the cup competitions?" This now backs up my argument even more with that, because you've still got to fit certain cup competitions in this. How is it going to be done?
In a nutshell, it isn't.
Right. So what's the point of then, leagues are now coming out and saying, well, we're going to have a little bit of a, no leagues have come out with a statement, have they? They've all just said, right, well, that's it. We're all on pause. We'll review things later on.
For another 3 weeks.
Right.
And there's these are the perfect examples. What about the teams that then ground share and everything else? The things to chuck into the mix here are endless. It's just silly. The thing that worries me, and this is a very negative thing to say, is that I can't understand how we drop down a tier. I can only see us going up tiers in regards to what's going on. I've never heard of anyone celebrating because they've dropped down a tier. Has that even happened yet? Has anyone dropped a tier? Has anyone gone from a tier 3 to a tier 2?
No. That's your solution. Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons.
Oh, just imagine suspensions and bookings. How many people do you have to get together on a Saturday morning to make sure you can last the day?
Yeah. If the season starts again, you've got to think about things such as cricket. With clubs sharing grounds, etc., it won't work. Youth League have also decided not to have any cup competitions this season. An option could be to make sure you've played everyone once and complete it as half a season. Daniel Farrow says, I can't see the season finishing myself. I'm going to bring Stephen in because I want to get his thoughts and opinions on this. Obviously, chairman of Ipswich Wanderers Football Club. Stephen, first of all, welcome along to the show. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on. Obviously, we've been having a bit of a chat beforehand, so I kind of know some of your thoughts and opinions on this. But as I've gone through some of those figures on there and about how realistically we're gonna fit this in, from your perspective, where do you kind of stand on that? Because as I said, we're now getting to a certain point where we're going to start. The leagues are going to have to start making a decision soon, aren't they?
I think you've got to first of all go backwards a little bit and look at a bit of accountability, because you've just thrown some dates out where you've calculated how many potential weekend fixture dates you've got going forward. Do you know how many dates we've actually had for furlough none fixtures since the start of the season? 1st September. You worked that one out. This is before the most recent lockdown. We've had 25 potential fixture dates. We've played 10 league games. Now, Now, this is where accountability comes in, because I'm not saying this after the event.
Yeah,
I've been at training on a crisp October Tuesday night when you didn't need the floodlights because the moon was out, the stars were out, the pitch was looking crisp, and we all looked around to each other saying, why haven't we got a game of football tonight? So let's deal with the accountability first of all. The leagues couldn't go any earlier than they did. The furlough none went as early as they could. But we were all saying from the start, there's no need to start all these cup competitions. We haven't got to do all this. I can partly understand why they completed the Suffolk Senior Cup, because I know this is a beef for you, James. To start with, I was on your side, okay? I was on your side. But when you actually speak to them in hindsight, you're talking about the furlough none North Division's got 760 odd fixtures to play this year. We were down to the semi-finals. That's 3 games.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the sake of actually getting some finality, and having won that trophy and having actually sat with it on where I am right now for one day when I had it that weekend when we were due to give it back the following weekend, and looking through the history of that trophy.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to bring this up with you because I respect everything you guys did, but you kind of blank coverage in that.
And, that was me. That was not Adam. I'll just point that out. That was me.
Okay. I mean, from our perspective, that game had, and I'll deal with, I'll just get this one out of the way. There was a Tuesday night fixture in October between a Step 7, Step 6 club that had 300 people attending and 200 people locked out outdoors. So it was relevant to non-league football. And I think that not just yourself, but everyone should have given that a lot more coverage. Yeah. And I thought like you, this is down at the sponsors. They're trying to keep this happy. And they weren't. Having spoken to Richard at the Suffolk FA, he just looked at the trophy, the same as me, and went, got to try and get this thing finished. We've got some players, 3 games at 760, and then midweek. So that's that one out of the way on that.
On that one, Steve, can you see them carrying that trophy again to next year? Because based on the numbers James has worked, it clearly is. It's at such an early stage still. I can't see them doing any more with it now.
There's time for people to stand up and make some tough decisions right now. We all chastise Boris and his loons in Downing Street for being behind the curve with every single decision they make. Let's stand up and make some tough decisions now in football, because you're quite right. We're not going to. Ipswich Wanderers aren't going to complete another 26 games and senior cups. It's just not going to happen. To answer your point, can I see a way in which you can finish the season? Yeah, I can. I mean, the figures at the moment you sort of see on the news for infection rates, they're all horrific, but there is something called a vaccine in the background. And if this Oxford one gets passed, then it's a complete game changer, because you can literally vaccinate a hell of a lot of people very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic with it. Let's not shoot for the stars. Let's be realistic, and that's why this concept that's been muted for a while about going to a change, just changing the lead up and go, okay, where we are now, let's have a look at all the fixtures that we've played. And, I'll talk about my club, for example. We played 10 league fixtures, and it's only one side we've actually played twice. Now, we won both those games. But I'd say no, I'll quite happily ditch one of them results and equalise it and just say, okay, so we won one game 5-0, and we beat that same team 5-2. So let's call it 3 points and a 5-1 victory, and it nullifies it. You then redraw it, and our 10 games played becomes 9 games played. So there's 19 teams in our leagues, there's 18 teams. So you just got to play 18 matches. Well, that way we've already played 9. You've got 9 left to play. Now, people will say, this isn't fair. It's not perfect. It's not what I got into football for. It's not what any of us want to do. But this is not perfect, is it? And
so essentially a recalibration of
100%.
The league as such and the fixtures for you could provide a fair answer that still gives complete protection.
That kind of goes into what Sidekick for Sport says here. An option would be to make sure that you've played everyone once and completed as half a season, because, as I said, sitting there and doing that before we went live, having a look at those numbers, I had a feeling that we couldn't get this done. But actually, when you see the numbers, unless you extend the season, and as I said, this is best case scenario that we have no postponements. Nothing
those numbers are wild, though, James, in terms of what some clubs have got to do. And at SIL, I don't know what the chat think, but I think at SIL level, it's wholly out of the question.
Yeah, you can't because you don't have the facilities to host midweek games. You just can't. You can't get it done. You can't.
And so if you then said, okay, well, what about if furlough none clubs could step in and help? Things like infection control and stuff like that, and getting the volunteers in to do it and look after it. Steve, I'm sure you'd have something to say on the actual feasibility of being able to get someone to man the pitch every night if it was needed. Impossible, I should imagine, isn't it?
Look, the thing about the system that I was sort of proposing as a way forward is, and everybody comes on and is negative and can't think of anything to say. I mean, it's very easy just to say 3 words, null and void, or say per game. Just try and think creatively about it. And the thing about, if you go to the point where you only play everyone once, It works for every single tier. And then the whole system works. This actually works for tier 3 and 4 as well. There is enough games because they've got lights. They could be behind, but they've only got to play. They've only got to play 18 games. Even Bury Town have only played 4. They've only got 14 fixtures. You can get them in. You can get them in. And SIL can as well. The only people that win out of Null and Void are rubbish football teams.
I agree. No, I'm not gonna sit on the fence with this, James. I
thought he might say teams who were in the relegation zone. I didn't know he was going to say rubbish teams. That just made me chuckle. Sorry.
I massively think that giving a vote to people, as happened last time, as to how the season would end, is an absolute get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
and you'd be ignorant to not play it.
When you know,
Steve,
Sorry. So go on. So Steve. So the question on here: how would you calculate if you've played somebody twice, you've won one, and you've lost one?
You've achieved 1.5 points.
Right. Okay. So you would do it that way rather than
it's a decimal point.
Right. Okay. All right, no, that's fine.
Okay. Stock markets work this way. It's not that difficult. What you're trying to do is create a criteria where you can test everybody's performance. And it's not perfect, but frankly, after having played the thick end of 20 matches and having played a certain number of those games at home and away and played every single team in the league, if we're not good enough as Ipswich Wanderers, fine, whatever. If we aren't good enough, we aren't good enough. But you can't say that wasn't a fair criteria. But I think we should all just be a bit more ambitious than just going, hey, null and void, and I just can't see what it really achieves. I mean, the whole bread and butter of the non-league system, the heartbeat of it, survives on the concept of promotion and relegation.
Yeah.
And if you cut that out, just for a minute, just think about the footballers. Okay, so you've got somebody who is in their mid-30s, is coming towards the end of their season, their career, their dream is winning promotion for this club, making their local club, taking them up to this level. You kill it right now in December, you don't get a chance to live that next tier status for another 20 months. Because it's going to be August 2022 when that happens.
Yeah.
And let's. I think everyone's got to be a bit more ambitious and try to find a solution to make this work, because this does work. I mean, any negative thing you throw at me, I'll find a solution for it.
Do you think that teams could really vote for a season to be null and void? Let's forget about other options at the moment. But if put to a vote, do you think that teams could really say, no, let's void the season, just have a third crack at it, when we haven't had any kind of meaningful results now for 2 years, if that happens? I don't understand how a team could morally say, yeah, we'll void it again. Let's have another crack and do all the same teams, the same fixtures all over again. Surely the last 2 years of performances count for something, and they need to be accounted for now.
I think you have to just say the most basic thing. The league should not ask people their opinion.
Do you think that's what it ultimately boils down to?
Yeah, because people are just going to vote for, what they think is going to work. And somebody said, I could see in the chat, someone say, "Oh, well, you won't be saying that if you weren't second in the league."
Yeah.
Ipswich Wanderers, well, if it was all about me and our football club, I'd vote for points per game, wouldn't I? We'd win the league.
Yeah.
So I didn't vote for that, and I don't believe in it, because as we're saying before the show, that's not a finish line. You can't arbitrarily create a finish line halfway through the event. You don't know. Maybe Ipswich Wanderers would have bottled it, like some teams did last year that were in really strong positions and dropped down the leagues. I don't believe in points per game. And regardless of, does it, I'm saying that benefits Ipswich Wanderers. Well, last year, when the season was null and voided, we'd played 28 games out of a 38-game season, and we were on 45 points. So we're seventh with an outside shot at promotion. And I still think we could have got there, because we had 10 games left to play, and they were all against lower league sides, pretty much. I think one game was against one team that was one place above us. Well, if we'd have won them 10 games, we'd have got promoted. Or if we'd have picked up 27 plus points. Well, have a look at us now. It was exactly what we have done. So you can't say that that was, how that season would have finished as well.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that get ahead of the curve now, create a criteria that everybody can buy into that gives a bit of slack in there as well, because games will get called off for weather. So what's realistic right now? Is it fitting in 20, 25 games? No. What's realistic? 8 or 9, 10? So just think about it from that perspective. How many games can you play and how can you get to the point? Null and void, only people say only the poor teams and the negatives and the people that don't want to create a decision win out of that. 1 year is vaguely tolerable. I feel very sorry for the clubs that clearly got shafted on it last year.
Yeah.
And also, let's be clear that it does protect certain clubs who maybe shouldn't be in certain divisions.
Yeah.
These tough questions, and because people say this stuff, it's only football, it doesn't matter. You see how hard we work at our club for what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you look at the furlough non-prem this year, obviously, if you went points per game, there's definitely clubs in there like Thetford, one of them would want to go anywhere near it, for example. And I think you can't just, for that reason, you can't just put two propositions forward. You've got to give those clubs a chance to get out, but not give them the vote of just cancelling it, which ultimately pisses over everyone else's party. You can't do that. There's got to be a way of playing at some point. And one of the suggestions I heard was that the season gets paused until a point where it's safe to do so. When you were talking, I was just quickly looking at my phone at something I saw earlier, and that was that the second vaccine was due to be announced and sorted out in the next week or so. Do we pause the season until a point where it's safe to resume and then just play it? If we have to stop for summer, we pick it up the other side of summer. Player registration issues are a problem. Is that too big a hurdle to get over?
Every hurdle is achievable if there is a will to do it. And, I think there is. I have sort of gone that myself. I mean, it is worth bearing in mind that when the season was null and voided last year, if you actually throw in the amount of fixtures that were completed this year, you had a full season. We've done a full season. You got to stick them together if you want. I haven't worked out how we get around that, but just merge them all together and then figure out how it is. But there's just got to be the will to do it. And if you let clubs decide, they're not thinking about the best for football. They're not, and so we just want to play football,
That's what Shem says on here. A lot of sense on this. I agree with not giving clubs an option, as it is an easy way out for the leagues. Again, I don't want to accuse certain leagues of certain things, but null and void is a very easy option. It just takes away all. It takes away any responsibility of a league saying, right, this is what we're going to decide. This is how it's being done. If you don't like it, tough. Because that is the problem that you've got, is that, as you quite rightly say, if you give people a choice, it's going to be, you're going to have a third of a league voting how they want it. You're going to have the bottom third thinking, right, well, we need to vote this way. And the middle third, who quite frankly don't give a shit. They don't care because it doesn't affect them either way. So they're just going to go, oh, well, how does my mate want it to go? Oh, okay, well, I'll vote what my mate wants it to go. And it just doesn't work out at all. It really doesn't.
Part of this, though, I think I can back up with a vote of no confidence in the fact that the way the season has gone so far. And I hate to say this, but all the way through, the decision has been with clubs as to what they want to do so far this season. And we've had loads of really contentious conversations where clubs have just been left to their own devices. Do you want to play? Do you not? Make your own decision. Let us know in 12 hours' time. I think someone told me they got about 6 hours to tell the league if they were going to play for the whole of the next month. Let us know if you want to do it, and then carry on as you were, or stop and come back. The league aren't taking that sort of option by the shoulders and saying everyone stop or everyone carry on. I can't see them just taking those decisions away from people.
Go on, Stephen, you look like you're bursting with a point there.
If the league came back to us now and said, like they did before, do you want to start again, or would you prefer not to? We just wouldn't bother. We just wouldn't, because you've got football clubs out there who are being given a green flag to unilaterally not fulfill fixtures at the last minute with absolutely no comeuppance, no penalty. And, we were just talking before about what's the fair system for football clubs and this, that, and the other. Let's just forget football clubs for a minute. What about the players? What about them? What about the volunteers who, some of them, it's their life.
Yeah.
Clubs. It's for everybody. It's such an important thing. And that's why I think we're all duty bound to try to get football going again. That's the first. Don't give up. Don't quit. Try and get football going again. If we've got a chance, and there's a chance, there's vaccines coming, the world could be a completely different place in April.
Yeah.
So let's be realistic about it as well and say, look, if we can get back this side of summer, what's realistic with the amount of games we're going to play? And that's why having a formula now, don't wait for a month. They will, of course.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Get your big boy pants on and make some big decisions for the good of football and for the good of the overall community that gets everybody playing with some clear direction and drive going forward.
Right.
So that deals with that. But there's no way, as a chairman of a football club, would I sign up to what has just happened in December after round 2.
How has it affected you as a chairman of a football club? What's happened with last minute cancellations and people saying they'll play and then deciding they won't, and what's gone on behind the scenes a bit there?
Because I'd again, just to top up on that as well, what are the official rules in inverted commas about the cancellation of games? Because I would have presumed it is if you have a positive COVID test, or if you have somebody who is suspected of one and they are going to get a test, then the game is called off because the risk is there. Let's not do anything. But if there is no symptoms at all, why is that game then being cancelled? How is that allowed to happen? What are the things that are in place? From your perspective, what have you been told as well? And then, the question that Adam asked as well.
Well, because we work hard and we study all the documents, we read everything, and our primary interest is in playing football, not trying to find a reason not to play football. We've read the detail of everything because we want to get every game on in a safe manner.
Yeah.
So the guidance is actually pretty clear. Even if a player tests positive, you can still play football.
Right.
That player should not play in the next game.
Yeah.
They should be kept out of the squad, but you can still play football. Now, I'll just go back to Adam's question about how this affects people like myself that run football clubs. I mean, you had my very shy number 9 on here a few weeks ago, and he talked about how he struggled to keep when he had sleepless nights. I've been there with this because you feel a responsibility for all these players and everybody's work. You feel it for the managers who are desperately trying to get promotion, this sort of stuff. And, you're trying to make this big decision about, wow. So when it came back after lockdown too, the message came out, the government got their big hooray headline, grassroots football can return. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I always go a little bit cold and emotional in those situations and think, right, let's have a look at the actual detail here. And then the hospitality rules come out. And they are crippling for clubs. So the league, I actually think they tried to be so accommodating. They tried to do the best thing for all clubs. They tried to be really accommodating to all clubs. They tried to do the right thing. Football clubs just exploited them all for their own ends. So we looked at it. We looked at it and we just went, okay, this is before we spoke to the players. Okay, apparently we can't open the tea hut. We definitely can't open the bar. We could probably survive if the gates are the same, but literally if we can't sell a cup of tea or anything, will it affect people's experience of going to the game? Because we could survive on gates of 140, but if they suddenly drop to 70, not only have we got the incremental spend, we haven't also got the headline numbers on the ticket sales to make it all add up. So we were really reluctant. And I'll tell you now, we voted against it, restarting. And then the next day they had a vote and they said, we're going to give clubs the option. If it proves to be financially unviable, then they can stop without penalty. And at this point, I was like, okay, it's a curveball. And we went back to the players and we just said to the players, all right, lads, could be a bit rocky financially next few months sort of thing. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. Our club's made a decision that to not go forward because it's too risky. My primary objective as a football club chairman, anybody who's listened to this who is a football club chairman will back me up on this. It's not promotion. Make sure it's a football club at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, so we went through it with the players and we went through the captain, went through the right way and said, look, you prepared to forego a little bit on your own expenses for the purpose of trying to get playing football again. And, Bucks is probably in the chat. He's shown me I'm not in the players' chat. It's probably best the chairman I'm not. But he showed me their responses. And the first one was, get me on that football pitch.
Yeah. And
we then decided we would do it. Despite the fact we only had one home game on in December, we decided, let's take the risk for these guys. Let's take the risk. And I can remember I hadn't seen them for 4 weeks. And I was standing outside the tunnel. We were just having the Wednesday back. I think it was the 2nd of December, something like that, 3rd of December. And I hadn't seen the players, just standing outside the tunnel on the pitch, and I could hear them all giggling, and they were like kids waiting to run down and open their Christmas presents. The fact that they could come back on a football pitch 4 weeks later. And when you're thinking about all these decisions as football people, just seriously, just think about the players a bit more.
Yeah.
Think about the volunteers. Think about the spectators. Just watch football, play football for opportunity. And people talk about risk, but we're only playing when the government's telling us we can do. We're not playing now, are we? So,
no.
That's.
I think that's a really good point. Is that we're actually putting it to people that you can play when it's perfectly legal to play. This isn't going outside of other guidance that applies to everyone. It's generally in the guidance you can play. In Tier 4, you can't, so it's off. Decision made. In my book, it's like I get there's increased risk and stuff, but it kind of comes with the territory of what you're doing. If you don't want to play, then maybe the punishment's the wrong word, but maybe taking a step back from the league for that season without some sort of punishment attached to it might have to be the route that you take. And I don't know, that's a very contentious suggestion, I know, but if it is legal to play, I know you have to think about health and stuff, but maybe there is a broader spectrum topic to cover there in terms of should you just be playing anyway if it is legal to. It's very difficult. It's really difficult to know.
Don't for 1 second say these aren't tough choices for people. I think I object to is other football clubs that are hiding behind moral and financial issues when they are not that. And this has been happening throughout December. It's happened to us 3 times. And the behaviour of some clubs has been appalling, in my opinion.
Right.
There's been horrible words, I think, enter the football language this year. One of the phrases in particular is the COVID card. And I think that it's evident in some cases where you think, could you play that? I don't know. Within restrictions, could you play that? And there have been situations that I'm aware of where teams probably could have got the game on. And the point I made on Twitter a few weeks ago was, is the issue actually player availability? And you just don't want to play with a couple of people that you consider to be key men missing? Because if so, that's where it's being abused. That's where it's costing teams money. That's where it's going to cost the season. I do wonder if we're going to.
The problem is, Adam. The problem is because there is no deterrent for that, because there is no punishment for cancelling the game for no justification. It will continue to happen, and it will happen if we get the season restarted again, because there's absolutely no punishment for it. So teams can just abuse the rule as much as they want. So we can, I can come out with my figures and we can say, right, we've got 19 weekends to get this done on time. Let's come up with a schedule and let's try and get things done. But again, if clubs don't want to play, they will come up with any excuse possible not to play. And that is the problem you've got, is that people just aren't honest at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Just be honest.
The basic rules that sustain football is your duty to fulfil a fixture. You know, but there are teams, I think, down in the SIL that I can see how it'd be really, really difficult in certain circumstances. Most of the teams we play against, they've got reserve teams, they've got under 18s teams. So, you know, we've had a situation recently where we had a game called off on us at 8:30 p.m. on the Saturday night. Sorry, on the Friday evening before a Saturday fixture, where we were told, allegedly, that 2 players had been sent home from their workplace because one person at their workplace had tested positive for COVID. So we know the rules. We asked the club in question the question, 3 questions basically. First one, have any of the players tested positive for COVID? No. Do the players have any symptoms of COVID? No. Have any of the players been asked to self-isolate by NHS track or trace? No. Then it's fine. You can play the fixture. It's up to you. Those 2 players can actually play. It's entirely up to you. The answer? Well, we're not coming.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're not entering that game anymore. If the league, and we've written to the league,
some of it
we've written to the league to seek clarification. We're not going down that route again. If you unilaterally call off games and have the support of the league, then we're not going down that route. It's pointless. Right. It's pointless for all the other, and it's not just us this is affecting. It's affecting all the other clubs that are trying to get out of this league as well.
Yeah,
all the other clubs that are trying to continue playing for good intentions for their players. Because, you know, we've got in our league, we've got 4 res teams. They're all development sides. So they're fulfilling all their fixtures. They're proud. Their kids are out there playing. We played Needham Market Res. They were Needham, fantastic hosts. Kids went out, they gave us a hell of a game. Those players had that time on the pitch. They developed themselves. Just too easy to call a game of football off at the moment for anything. And it does it annoy me. You know?
It's definitely difficult because you can go on the club sites, can't you, on full time and see who the players are that are registered. And if you wanted to be really, really picky over it, you could say if you've got 11 people on that list that haven't been told to self-isolate, then, you know, if the league was to take a strict approach, that's where they could have gone. If there's 11 players on that list that don't need to isolate and haven't been in contact, you should be playing or forfeiting points.
Yeah.
Now, if the league would have turned around and said that is the route that you need to go down, everyone would have just gone along with it because that's what the rule was. People would have moaned. Exactly. No one would have withdrawn from the league because of it.
And you can't play the old ethical card of player safety and all this sort of stuff because these are rules that are governed by the authorities. They've said that football is not considered a close contact activity, not like being in a workplace next to somebody for 12 hours a day, that sort of thing. And therefore, you are free to continue playing. And if you just set that, all we asked for when we wrote to the league was, can you just clarify the parameters to which clubs can call off games? And I'll be completely candid with you. The response was, we will always err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
To which really the response would be of any club who's playing under good intentions, well, don't bother including us anymore. Because, you know, whatever the club's reason for not wanting to play football matches, we just want to play when when it's safe to do so and it's legally due to. You know, we've kind of always had this thing at our club from the start of the season with, you know, whenever we had the problem with the virus, that we would do everything we could on a common sense basis. We wanted players to socially distance. You know, we set up the table separately in the bar. we wanted that. We want the spectators to spread out. We tried everything we could to get people moving around the pitch. You know what it's like at some grounds. Everybody hoards in one little area.
Yeah.
You know, and we just try and look after people at all time, thinking that whilst we're trying to keep everybody safe, we're trying to keep everybody with something to do. You know, football was one of the few things you could do, and it just kind of sickens me a little bit when I can see. I think the league made their decision in good intent, and it's been exploited by other people. That's just not how I believe, and I know a lot of people feel the same way.
So, Stephen, I just want to read out a couple of people's messages in the, they've been posting in the comments. Yeah, absolutely loads. So I just want you to kind of respond to a few of these, if you don't mind. So we've got Goal United on here saying, so how do you justify playing one round of games to a team who gets relegated or misses out on promotion because their key games were played away from home? One round of games is not a level playing field. How do you respond to that? Because there will be people that say that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're saying that, I mean, we played Fakenham away, so you'd think that would kind of benefit us the other way. But the whole point is it's 3 points for a win. So if you're playing, you're saying key. This person here is saying key games. Is he talking about teams in the mix in relegation or teams at the top of the league? Because if you're, let's just say for an argument's sake, you're a team who's going for promotion, and you play, you get drawn all your away games against other teams going for promotion. Well, you should be absolutely smashing all the other teams then below you in the league with all your home games, shouldn't you? You work on that basis. The point is it evens up. A tough game's a tough game home away, but the odds go more in your favour if you've got home advantage. So if you're playing a seemingly poorer team at home, you should have more chance of acquiring 3 points.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It equalises it. I go back to the central point though, that this isn't a perfect solution at all. It's the only solution I can find that really works. And over the course of 19 games, if you've played everybody and home, you played everybody, whether that be home or away, but you've averaged out, where it will be harsh is for a odd number, one team may end up playing one game more home and away. That's the reality of it. And I've not for one point said this is perfect.
No. Yeah.
But, if we end up playing all our home games against teams at the bottom of the table, I expect us to have won all them games if we were going for a promotion. We just got to make sure points. No, it's 3 points for a win.
Alex has dropped at the end. I don't expect you to go back to it, James, but he's just put in there's no perfect solution. And I think this point links well to that. There won't be a perfect solution, and you've got to expect some compromise between things. And the home away game situation, especially on club income and stuff like that, if you want to go into it deeper, absolutely, definitely not going to be a perfect solution. And home advantage and the way you may set yourself up to play at home against how you set up to play away may be different. But for those remaining 9 games or something, every game will be played like a home game. I can guarantee you'll see some of the most attacking football you've ever wanted to see, because every game will matter so much more. It does mean that some of the games beforehand were played differently, but if anyone's playing their opening 5 fixtures or to 10 fixtures that's been so stop-start in a way where they weren't going for a win, you've got to question what on earth they were doing anyway. Like I haven't seen a non-competitive game of football where people were not just trying, at least.
Yeah. No, that's
right.
a fair point. Fair point. Alex asked a question: can you see more lower league and struggling clubs folding as a result of this? I mean, it's a possibility, I guess, isn't it?
You have to keep the integrity of promotion and relegation. That is the oxygen for a league. It's the thing that keeps everything going, And as I say, with all this sort of stuff, it all comes back to: do we want to try to play football again before the summer break? If you do, it has to be relevant football, and you need to be realistic about how much time you're going to have to play for it, and err on the side of less than that. Because if there's one thing we've learned this year, is that we always end up playing a little bit less than we thought we would. So if you've got a chance to play, and make sure there's enough fat in there, because even in February, do you remember last February, the amount of games we had called off for wind and stuff like that?
We lost a lot.
Alex's point now about lower league clubs. yeah, there's going to be some problems. And that's going to be blood on everyone's hands. As a football community, we've all got to pull together and make sure that doesn't happen, And, as Wanderers, we play a part in anything. If any club's struggling, anything we can do to sort of help clubs with like friendlies and things going forward and things like that, and just trying to, even if we finished this early, let's just say we ended up with vaccines coming in February, and we went for this method of kind of just playing once. We ended up in April where we'd done all the games. Then let's play for some money games. Let's play some local friendlies and festivals and things like that bring money in, because Suffolk football clubs, they need money. They don't need token gestures. They don't need loans. They need cash in their bank accounts now.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think as a fan base, we've missed it so much. They'd be more than willing to go along and get out and watch any kind of football as well. I think there's a real market there for that.
Yeah.
It's a case of when we can play, let's do it properly. Let's do it safely. As you say, let's plan for things to go wrong. People will still get poorly. But that's not going to go away for a while. Even with a vaccine there, it's not 100% you're fine. We've still got a plan for things to go wrong. But when we can play, if these last 2 years have taught us anything, you should play and enjoy it and make the most of things and find new ways of making money and becoming sustainable, and not rely on one revenue stream, because if that goes tits up, you're in deep, deep water.
Yeah, I think there's been, no matter what I say, if you go around local football, I went to an under-9s game today, and I see other people from other clubs, and we're all gossiping in the corner. We all know which clubs don't really want to play. I don't think it's their players, by the way. I think it's their board of directors.
Yeah.
And we all know it. So all I'm saying here is what everyone already knows. And those people shouldn't be allowed to dictate the future. Yeah. Let's try and football,
Sean says Null and Void would just see a lot of footballers and football people walk away.
I agree with this hugely.
Yeah.
And I worry about this.
Yeah, because having 2 seasons of potentially nothing counting at all, for a lot of people, that how many are going to look at the potential next season and go, oh, do you know what, if this happens again, I'm not doing this, because what's the point? You're starting something that is not going to be finished again. So can you see this happening as well, or do you kind of err on that side that you were talking about earlier, where you've got your players that are so desperate to come back, no matter what is being put in front of them, they just want to play football regardless?
James, some of our younger players are just so hungry. They just want to play anywhere, anytime, whatever, and do whatever they want. Some of the older players, there's 2 players at our club who, as far as I'm aware, have never really had a serious injury. And in the last 4 to 6 weeks, hey-ho, they've suddenly developed serious injuries. This stop-start thing is not good. It's not good for the older footballers, the mid-30 players, they're like racehorses. They just got to be out every day playing. They don't need to train. But they're people that are geared up to play football, and you're going to have a lot of players in their mid-30s that are going to find it very difficult to justify in their family life playing football next season.
Yeah, definitely. Psycho for Sports saying some clubs haven't played as it's not financially feasible to fulfill the fixtures. Is that an argument you kind of? Is that an argument?
Yeah, some clubs have said it's when it's genuine. When it's genuine, the one that we've had a real close look at this, and we rely on our bar a hell of a lot, but our bar can't open, therefore we can't play a league game. But 2 weeks later, if you're stuck for something to do this weekend, drop in and watch the Sky Sports game at the bar, then you used to got to question whether that's totally honest. What I would say on that is, I think some clubs have over-egged the whole pub thing, the bar pints income a little bit. If I just talk to you about what our standard match day would be, we take around about 1,400 quid on a match day. 700 quid of that, this is average, right? So 700 of that would be ticket sales on the gate, and about 700 of that would be beer and tea and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the 700 that's all profit. So you make about 50% margin on a pint if you're lucky. So you're not down by 700 quid. You're down by about 300 quid. So, it's not as big a deal as some clubs have made this out to be. Where we were worried was where if the hospitality rules were so punitive that they stopped people selling a cup of tea and a Kit Kat, would people go, do you know what, I don't think I want to go, I might not be able to use the toilet. And then suddenly our average gate of 140 drops to 70, 80, which is 100% profit, then it's not feasible. So when it's genuine, I've got a lot of sympathy for clubs that went down the route of taking that decision, because we did the same. But there are many other clubs that have said it's not financially viable for them to play football, yet are playing friendlies and cup games and stuff like that. So it's not. We're all saying this in football, and it's.
Adam, I know before you jump in,
yeah,
I'm not going to reveal the person who said it because they might want this to remain confidential. But somebody said to me and Adam, if you are solely relying on bar money to keep your football club afloat, you are running a football club in the wrong way. Where do you stand on that? I don't know if he can hear me. Or is he just being silent for this?
Was that a question for Adam or me?
No, that was for you, Stephen. That was for you.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a question to Adam.
No, we've had this posted to us and have voiced our opinions between ourselves. What do you feel about it?
I think that it depends how the club operates. Okay, so we're quite strange in our club in that we've got clubs that we pitch share with people that come up there on Sunday mornings to play, and various other training academy people up there. And we kind of rely a little bit on what we service our contracts at for incremental spend too, if that makes sense. So, you might sell a pitch hire for 50 quid, but they spend 100 in bar. So It depends how your club is set up a little bit in response to that question. If it's a pure, we have a first team, we have a res team, there are anything at our club, and we need to sell 100 odd pints after a game in order to pay the players' wages, then I think I would probably agree with you. I think with any football club, you've got to try to have some kind of incremental money coming in. You can't just rely on the bar. It has to be other stuff too. But it is a really difficult time for all clubs. And all clubs run slightly differently as well, so it's difficult to really answer that.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you've got to remember, at professional level, football is the livelihood. At amateur level, as such, football is sometimes the people's life. And I think now for volunteers and players, chairman, everyone else around, the willpower and everything is starting to be tested to the absolute limit for the amount of work and effort that's having to go in just to keep all of this going and ticking over. And sometimes you'd think, do you know what? It's just too much just to stay on top of. And I'm not sure if we're getting completely accurate and maybe the right things communicated to everyone, when really what might sit behind it with some people is that maybe there isn't the willpower there to get it on every single week with all the current restrictions that are in place. And that's not something I know is happening, but I wouldn't blame anyone if they couldn't get the volunteers together that could cope with everything that's having to happen at the moment.
I've seen some of our volunteers just at breaking point. They come up, you see when they went down to this thing where they had to provide table service. I just thought we'd crossed the line. There was people that were operating like professional waiters and waitresses, and we were just asking too much of people. It was just become so unpleasant. We as a chairman, I didn't get into this for this. The only reason I haven't given up is because I'm really stubborn. When I have people say to me, Stephen, don't go on that show and lose your rag with X club, I say, sod it, I'm going to. Because I've given my absolute all. You haven't done what I've done. You haven't done what Bucks and Goldie have done. You haven't put the hours in. You haven't put the hard work in. So, yeah, you're going to get a little bit emotive about it when you get shafted by another football club who's given you absolutely no respect and treated you with complete and utter disregard.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's always come back to the basic concept of common sense keeping people safe at football grounds and trying to play football to put a smile on people's faces. And I tell you what, that's been the driving factor behind everything. And results, yeah, they've been good for us, but we'd still be wanting to play now. I tell you what, if we were second from bottom, we'd still be wanting to play our boys.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think to Kelly's comment up on the screen there that I had just brought up a moment ago? Rightly so, everyone's a bit more cautious, but grassroots football is so geared up for protecting everyone who attends with all the PPE. They are actually much safer places than they have been for decades. Because again, every club has to now set themselves up to be a certain way, don't they, before you can enter? I mean, even SIL games, Adam, we had, you quite rightly say, we're in the middle of a field. We're still having to check in. We're still having to sanitize before we can even walk past the stand there to go and watch the game of football on the field. Things are.
I wouldn't tempt fate for when we're able to go back to football, because I'm sure Steve will completely agree. We're not getting away from check-ins and everything else at football grounds for a long time.
No.
Vaccination. This is something that clubs have got to get used to. But I would love to know the statistics of how many people have been pinged at a non-league football match.
Well, here's an interesting one. So I've done some stats on that, and I haven't got the exact number. So the two key numbers are how many people have entered your venue since track and trace was implemented, which for us, I think, was about August, and how many positive cases you have.
Right.
I can guesstimate the first one as being somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000, and I can give you the second one, which is less than 1.
Right.
Now, I'm not kind of trying to, kind of ridicule a really important subject.
Making a point, I guess.
But my point is, you've got to give people stuff to do.
Yes.
If you don't give people stuff to do, they will go around their houses where there is no QR codes, there's no track and trace, there's no masks, and particularly the young lads that play football, they're just going to go around each other's houses and drink beer.
Yeah.
Watch telly and play Xbox. That if you follow the social science and not the scientific evidence, human behaviour will do that. Which is why, as a chairman of a football club and somebody who generally really cares about the players and the volunteers and all the people that are under my duty of care, I want them to play football because I know it's the best thing for them. Is there absolutely zero risk? No, there's a risk there.
Because we've had the debate, haven't we, in previous weeks, Adam, where we've been talking about the mental health side of things, and it's the release for a lot of people. Is that also an important factor for yourself, then, Stephen? The fact that from a mental health perspective, it's everyone at the club and everyone within football needs this more than ever now.
Yeah, I mean, in our club, I've probably got under my kind of direct watch approaching 100 people, and that could be players, volunteers, coaches, all kinds of younger players, and you feel a personal responsibility to all these people. And I'm aware of probably at least half a dozen cases in our club of serious mental health problems right now.
Right.
Now, I tend to think the ones you know about are just the tipping point.
Yeah.
It could be 5 or 10 times that. And this virus didn't help them. And football is, for a lot of these younger players, it's their life.
Yeah.
It's just their life. So if you forgive me with some of the emotions or some of the behaviour of other clubs, this is where a lot of this is directed. Don't ask your board of directors, go ask your players what they want to do. Go ask your volunteers, the person who helps out in the tea hut that, you might think nothing of. That's their role, it's their job, it's their identity.
I think sometimes you have to look beyond it as well. Like, non-league football is a huge community. Everyone that's in this chat is part of a community of some sort, a football club. Be it they play every week, or they just go and watch a certain team every week, or they manage. Some people beyond that live on their own, and this actually genuinely might be the only communication they have in the week is among those people.
Yeah.
Pull that out from under their feet for whatever reason it may be, and be it, you know, a serious concern about health, or because you have to isolate or whatever. I think that's where we're getting a big problem, and it's a really difficult one to solve as well, to know, because we're going to have a mental health service that's completely overloaded, and people aren't going to be able to get the care and attention that they need. But adversely, the community isn't going to be there to just go to, because we can't.
Yeah, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be there to pick up the pieces, are they? Because
exactly.
for a lot of, as you said, for a lot of people, just being able to have that one conversation of, how are you? Yeah, not bad. How are things going? Yeah, really good, actually. Oh, no, actually, no, do you know what? I'm not all right. Oh, what's up, mate? That's all it takes. And if you take that part of it away,
James, a lot of the people that are suffering with severe mental health problems are the last ones you would suspect.
Yeah.
And, you know, I encourage anybody out there who, there's now a really difficult point coming up. We could be out of this now for a couple of months, and take the time to actually give somebody a call and just say, don't ask them if you're all right. Actually, ask them with a bit of sincerity to it. Oh, you all right? Just checking everything's all right with you. Because some people just really need some help at the moment, contact, and the balance of it's all gone. You know, everything has become everything. It's almost become like we're so obsessed by not trying to die, we've forgotten the point of living. And you know,
that's very poignant. That is.
There has to be a balance to the whole debate. Is there a risk? Yes. How substantial is the risk compared to all the other factors that we need to weigh up? And there are too many people in authority that are bottling big decisions.
Yeah, and I think that's why, you know, that's why we put the message out on our Christmas thing that we did, Adam, is that, you know, if you want to talk, we are here. I had a couple of people reach out and message me about it, and, you know, I don't know what help I was able to do, but, you know, it was just nice just to be there, just to help somebody out as well.
Though, James, we completely undervalue the ability to just talk about a topic that you have in common with somebody. And that is exactly what football does, is that you can have any opinion you want on it, but it creates conversation and it creates company. Non-league, like, forever and a day has been like the old boys, you know, one man and his dog. That's the classic phrase. Like, it's non-league. It's often one man and his dog because he might not have a partner anymore and stuff like that. We're not just talking about people that are playing. We're not just talking about a couple of young lads that go and stand together and watch that because that's what they enjoy now instead of the Premier League. Mental health affects everyone.
Yeah.
I think back to the guy that you mentioned, you know, the person that runs the tea hut. That's their conversation for 2 hours on a Saturday. Like, these people matter so much to what non-league does, and we need to make sure that we still give them a nod, a shout in the right direction, just to make sure that they are okay, because it is going to be a difficult time. And we've spoken about people not bothering to come back to football. If you forget about someone for two months and don't have a word to them at all, then, you know, they're not going to bother coming back, and themselves, it could be quite a negative time.
You're also denying people memories.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been in like a pub on a Saturday night and you've seen a group of players, and one of them bumps into a player who he played with 3 or 4 years ago, the relation and interaction between those two people can often be so deep. They might not have seen each other for 3 or 4 years, but this is what your life's made of. This is all the important stuff when you look back on it. And you know, we're at the moment, we're at danger of just becoming so risk adverse. It's not a political statement. This is all about football. We're becoming so risk adverse that we're taking away so much here from people that aren't being considered in the debate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the stuff with, I'm a big boy. I can deal with teams calling off on me. I'll find a way of getting them back. But the footballers, the volunteers, the supporters, they're not necessarily in that world that I'm in, where I get used to. I have bad days. I pick myself up and I go again, and I'm up for the fight again. But some of these people aren't that. They're tradesmen, they're labourers. Football is their life, it's their passion. They work all day to go and play training in the evening and play football at weekends. Don't take it away from them unless you absolutely have to. Right now, in my opinion, we don't have to. You could be playing now. I honestly think that. Chuck the changing rooms. You can still be playing football. If there's going to be a major problem in the NHS, it's not because people played non-league football. It's because a bunch of 18 and 21-year-olds are hanging around college each other and affecting each other. That's the problem. There's a bank account here of stuff you can do in life. And I think people have got to stop thinking about reasons not to do things and actually sit down with a blank sheet of paper, give people a purpose, because they might actually then stick by the rules. If you give them some purpose and some things they can do, rather than saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and you can't do that, and you can't do that, and people go, oh, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway.
Yep.
And that's the reality of it.
And with mental health, it's so important to have that purpose and to have that goal. And one of the things I'd say is that if you are struggling, a lot of it's about just setting yourself a small goal or something to do each day that you know that you can achieve. Make it really achievable. Tick it off the list, and then find something else that you can do. Because everything you do will make those things that seem difficult that little bit easier next time you come up against them. Because you could, say, suffer from anxiety and find it hard to get out. And football's that one thing you can relate to because you know it. To keep yourself well, you need to find something else. Don't let yourself sit inside. So in a month's time, 2 months' time, when we can go out and do it again, everything's difficult for you again. Just keep setting small goals, even if it's walking down the road late at night when there's not going to be people around and stuff. Keep yourself safe, but set yourself goals that you can complete and keep doing. It's hard to watch people struggle when we're in a forced situation.
There's no daily stats for that, though, is there?
Absolutely not. And you won't get them.
The news agenda is just obsessed by feeding this figure of negativity. Why don't have a daily update of people that have been vaccinated, so we can all see the goal? Why don't they give out some positivity to people? Because the way this is going at the moment, these young people are gonna. There will be casualties right now. There will be people that play football or are volunteers in non-league football clubs in Suffolk that will never recover from this next 2 months. That is the reality of it. That is not covered in any of the stats. That's not considered in anything.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
That's why I said at the beginning of the show, this one has affected me more. Sorry, Stephen. That's why I sort of said at the beginning of this show to you, Adam, this one has affected me more than the other two have. The other two lockdowns have. This one has actually got to me far more than I haven't said this to anyone. So, anyone on my family or whatever could be watching this, but this one has actually got to me. Because, as I said, I was in that mindset of, I'm annoyed that we're not in tier 1. We should be in tier 1. We're the safest part of the country. Why are we in tier 2? And all of a sudden, I remember my colleague come back in from their lunch break and going, "Yeah, I've just heard on the radio we're now in tier 4." And like everything, I was just like, oh, do you know what? I'm done. I need to finish work. I need to get home. I just need to, do you know what I mean? Just lock myself down. And I'm glad that Christmas came at the time it did, because I needed to switch off, because it affected me more than I let on to anyone. And going back to your point, Adam, about about getting yourself into that kind of rut. We talked about this when we had Darren Eady on the podcast many months ago, and the kind of stuff that I went through when I had that injury for a period of time, and realistically after about 3 months I probably should have gone back to work, but mentally that was the problem, is that I got myself into such a rut of being at home doing nothing, sitting there, not achieving those small goals that you set out, and all of a sudden, right, you've got to go back to work and be in a normal environment. Well, no, I can't. It didn't happen. And I said, that side of things, you just, as I said, I kind of shut down on that part, and that's what I'm worrying about with other people now. I'm now in a much better headspace than what I was before, and I've had my moments, but now I like to think that I'm okay and I'm handling what is going on now a lot better than what I would have done 3 or 4 years ago. But it's the other people that I'm now worried about. And it's the people that we're talking about here. And as you mentioned, Stephen, it's the volunteers. It's the people that they get by the week because what is going on Saturday or what is happening on a Tuesday night gets them from A to B. And when I said, when you're having that ripped away from you, that's a massive thing for a lot of people. It's tough to take,
It's
interesting. Sorry, go on, Stephen.
Yeah, go on, Steve.
You're saying you found this one harder than the others. I think a boxer would tell you it's sometimes it's not the biggest punch that knocks you out. It's just the accumulation of being hit. And I think that with this is how I kind of felt with this one coming. I just had enough. I'd just gone through lockdown, struggling with your own business and things like that. You get the restart, you kind of think you've passed it all, then it comes back, bites you again. Okay. I kind of thought there might be another one. I thought, oh, that's probably going to be about February, so I'm going to get another 7 or 8 games in here. And you're like, oh, no. And there's another one that's come, and it just hits you. And, I just think we've all got to try and stay very active and support people. And it's tough times for all, but there just seems to be so little consideration to the collateral damage that all this is bringing on people. The average death age appears to be 82 or something like that. Now, all these lives are all important, but what's the long-term effects? And I struggle with, whenever I speak to anybody who's 80 plus, they just say, "Oh, go and live your life. Don't hold yourself back for us." And I understand there's lots of factors at play. I know they're worried about hospitals being overrun and all this sort of stuff, but just a bit of balance. But if I could just get a message out to anybody who's involved with a football club right now, this is likely to go on for some time. And now is not the time to bunker down and not talk to people. You shouldn't need a football to be the sole purpose of it. Now's the time to sort of stand up and make sure that you put in some phone calls and not just message people. You pick up the phone, chat to people, and check they're really all right. And when they've said to you, "Yes, I am," check again. Because there's, as I say, the amount of cases that I know about, and then the amount of cases that I suspect at my own club. And I suspect this is mirrored at a lot of the other clubs of people that are sitting in the chat window and people that are watching this.
Yeah,
it's going to get bad for a bit. You have the post-January blues most years. This year's going to be worse. So just think about other people.
Yeah, definitely. Go on, Adam.
Yeah, it's tough, and when you are speaking to people, especially within football clubs, just see what people want to talk about. If you're on a board, don't just talk about where the next chunk of money is going to come from. I know that's something that's going to press a lot of clubs at the moment. See how people are first and have that general chat before putting another concern on them. If it's a group of players, don't just go in full on with a banter, because people might need something else, an arm around their shoulder, before they get prodded from all angles or something that would probably be funny. But it's about just going that extra step beyond at the moment, just to make sure people are okay and to allow people to reach out in the right way. And I know from my own history that when I'm feeling bad, the last thing I can do is phone somebody or text somebody.
Yeah.
You can't bring yourself to do it because you don't want to face it. So if you're in the right place and you haven't heard from someone for a few days or whatever, make sure you reach out to them. Don't expect the call from that person because it'll be difficult. And hopefully when all of this is sort of getting easier, I'll never say when it's all done. I'll never say, the night when we're all allowed to go free again, because it won't be like that. But when things start relaxing again, we can start having those normal conversations. And if we've supported each other in the right way, then we can help support the football community to flourish more again.
One of the things that really hurts all this is when you take away the face-to-face contact that people naturally have when they socially interact, you don't have any other way of looking in people's eyes. And if you look in someone's face, you can tell if they're really all right. So next time you phone your mate up and you say, next time you text your mate, you message him and say, all right, mate, blah, blah, blah. And he says yes. And you check again and he says yes. Ask him to go on a Zoom call or something, because you'll be able to tell in their eyes when someone's gone, when someone's really struggling.
Yeah.
You can tell the eyes give it all away. So
it's easier to talk like this as well. Like on a Zoom call and that. I find it a lot easier to talk than I do just on the phone. Because you get a lot more feedback from people the other side.
Yeah. I can't stand chatting on the phone. I can't stand chatting on the phone. You know that as well as I do, because every time I communicate with Adam, it's either via messaging or we have to talk like this. I can never get on the phone to him and just speak to him because I don't know. There's something not quite right about it. So yeah, I totally get that. Totally get that.
Yeah, body language, exactly that. You get that feeling of people being genuine, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope that leagues and relevant authorities are watching this one and will now take this into consideration. I hope that people will listen to this. I doubt it, but you never know. Hopefully now we've had that conversation that people will start paying attention to it, and who knows. Unfortunately, I still think things will be governed by numbers because that's the way that this country works. It's just facts are facts, and there's nothing else that comes in between it. All the other stuff is not relevant to a lot of people, but I hope that, as I said, we've had that conversation. People are aware of it. I hope people take notice of it. And yeah, it's again, if people want to reach out, we're all here. And as Stephen said, from a club perspective, obviously how things work and operate on that spot. You're open to chatting to people, aren't you? In terms of if there's other clubs out there that want some help and support, you're available, aren't you?
Anything, honestly, anything. Wanderers, we're just trying to build ourselves as being a club. We're very ambitious, and we want to go through the leagues. But at all point, we want to take all the local football people with us. We want to be liked. We want to kind of do a little bit of humility, and that's for all the clubs. And guys, we've spoken about some of the ideas we've had where we can get some more money flowing around non-league football, and our club's prepared to take a lead in that. So didn't come on here to bash other teams. I'm coming here because I really think that we shouldn't quit. We shouldn't go, this is too hard. Let's just go null and void. Let's do points per game. Let's just think about the people that really matter. It's the players, it's the volunteers, it's all that. And I'd be saying that whether I was second in the league or not. I just want to get playing football again. I need it for myself. So next time somebody puts in some tweet, it's going to end up null and void, just challenge them. Don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
Don't have to be quitting. Don't quit. You expect your footballers to quit? No. To go.
Love it.
Get a result. Dig in. Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. What a message. What a message to end on. Cheers, Stephen. Thank you very much for coming on the show, mate, and spending your Monday, the 28th of December evening with us, because I can imagine there's probably other things you might want to be doing, although it's probably good to have a break, isn't it? See us rolling.
A little bit. Look, guys, thanks very much.
Without eating a mince pie.
you guys do a great job for non-league football, and
apart from last season's cup, but we won't go there.
I'll let you off with that one. So when you have people start messing you around, then don't worry, because all the genuine people in non-league football have got your backs covered. So keep up the hard work, and just Merry Christmas to everybody who's listening.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate that, Stephen, because as I said, it's been a tough couple of weeks, but there we go. Anyway, really appreciate that. Cheers for coming on, mate. Thanks for your time. Cheers. Adam, very honest chat. I absolutely love that. That was really good. It's good to get that
broad kind of chat as well.
Yeah, it was good to get that kind of that thought and opinion in terms of somebody who is desperate to come, to actually continue the season, because we do see a lot of comments about null and void and whatever the case may be, but to have that kind of side of it was quite refreshing.
Yeah. And it's that side of wanting to just play the fixtures and see a competitive end to it, not just find a way of terminating it and still allowing people to go up and down. It's it's good.
Definitely,
really,
definitely.
Really good. That comment says it all. Breath of fresh air in terms of
from my people should get down to Darcy Lane and support when we can. 100% down, 100%. Adam, we're going to round things up tonight by talking about the Super Six, and then we're going to. So, what did we decide from last week then? Just in case people haven't seen the tweets and everything, because obviously last week was a bit of a there was no football, so last week was nil point as GB UK in the Eurovision, nil point. So, what did you decide was the right thing to do from the Super Six perspective?
I put it out on Twitter as to what people thought I should do, with Ant Stowe being ahead in the competition at the moment. Should we carry on and me redo it all, or give the honorary win over to Ant? The majority of people said give the lad a win or something to those effects. I've got to be honest, I'm really pleased he did, because what I kind of didn't account for is that I'd be redoing it, rescheduling on Christmas Eve. It wouldn't have worked anyway. So thank you all for voting for the right answer for once. Ant Stowe is the winner of the kit box. So, massive well done to him. I know it's a bit of a difficult one because we've kind of finished things early, so it's sort of almost a bit of an anticlimax for everybody else. So I'm sorry that we didn't get it all done, but a massive well done to Ant for winning and getting the prize. I will be in contact with him. I hope I've got him on Twitter. I think I have.
Yeah.
But if not, I've got your email address, and we will work out what we can do to make sure that the prize gets delivered to him. That kit box does come from Northern Ireland, so delivery won't be really quick, but he'll get it soon enough.
Definitely. And congratulations on that part. The December's Super Six winner. Absolutely amazing. I, to be honest, I've seen some of the kits that they've been posting out throughout December, and I'm stupidly jealous.
Yeah,
because they look absolutely brilliant. Yeah, they really are. They really are great. But what we've decided is that obviously, because there is not going to be any non-league football for the foreseeable, we are still going to be continuing the Super Six. We're going to go back to what we had in November, where we're going to have the pro games on instead of the non-league games, so that we can keep having that competition going on. And as it'll be something that we can continue adding to the show whilst we continue as well. So we have got our Super Six games for this week, and there's a bit of contention about whether or not the Ipswich game was going ahead, so we haven't included that. Is that right, Adam? Because I had it on the list and you were saying it's not going ahead, but
I was sure Fleetwood was off because I think another 2 or 3 players contracted COVID, but I mean they've already got a completed enough squad, so I just assumed that they wouldn't be playing and actually had a valid excuse for not playing.
Right. Okay, so here is the Super Six that we have gone for this week. So we've got 5 teams in East Anglia up on here, and we have a random game that Adam selected. as you can see from the top one. So we've got Crystal Palace versus Sheffield United. Why did you select Crystal Palace before the comments absolutely berate me?
They were the closest team playing in London. They're a London team that are playing on Saturday, but basically what I was looking for. And Hannah Parnell supports Crystal Palace. So
fair enough.
I just had a quick look on it was literally the first name that stood out on the Kofi donators, and I knew who she supported. So
fair enough, Ski. Fair enough. Kelly, really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Really, really great in the conversation. So keep it up. So yeah, a lot of people are confirming Ipswich is off. Town will be off. A lot of games being called off now because of COVID. Lambert's got COVID. So yeah, I think we did the right decision. Ipswich is off. Gary sent Ipswich is off as well. So we've got Palace versus Sheffield United, Norwich versus Barnsley, Colchester versus Tranmere, Grimsby versus Cambridge, Newport versus Southend, and Chelmsford City versus Braintree in the National League South. So we've got 6 good fixtures on there. I have to admit, looking at what's been going on, and I know if Joel Windsor is in the chat, if you are still watching Joel, he'll be able to tell you how bad Colchester have been doing recently and how
they
poor.
lost to Southend, didn't they?
Yeah.
Absolute banter that is.
I know. There was, that game, if you'd have said a month ago, I'd have said that Colchester could have been winning 3 or 4-0. But Southend started to turn things around a little bit. Colchester on a bit of a low. I knew he was watching. I knew you'd be watching, Joel. I really apologize because I saw some of your tweets, and Colchester fans are not happy at the moment. So that will be that is a must-win game. Absolutely must-win game from their perspective. But some good fixtures in there.
The Sheffield United one is a must-win for both teams, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah, more for Sheffield United. Yeah, definitely.
Sheffield United.
I really hope Ben is wrong with that Chelmsford one. If it is, it is. But
as long as we can beat the Super 2 that we did a few weeks ago.
True, definitely. Awful Palace. Anyway, so yeah, the link has been posted for the Super 6 for this week. If you want to get involved, then all you need to do is just fill in the details as per normal. And as Adam has proved throughout December, you can have a really good week and 2 really good weeks, and all of a sudden you are in the reckoning again. So the league table is not said and done. You know what? The top 10 are not going to be there at the end of the season. There is going to be plenty of movement, in the Super 6. So if you want to get involved, I've posted the link for Twitter, for Facebook, and also for YouTube as well. Make sure you get involved and leave your predictions. Adam, any sort of bold prediction that you're going to go for with this one? Is there anyone that you're going to say before?
Barnsley will absolutely batter Norwich.
Oh, that's just, I knew you'd do that.
No, like, to be honest,
I shouldn't have set you up with that, to be honest, should I?
No, you shouldn't have done. I mean, the problem is I know absolutely nothing about this kind of football, as proved last time. And to be honest, what reassured me about the community is nor does anybody else, because none of us get points from it. So it should be good fun, really, to be honest. Alex predicting score draws for all of them. A few of them have got draw written all over them, I think.
Shem, that is an absolutely shocking joke. That is absolutely shocking. Score draws for all of them. I'll tell you what, I'm going to fill mine in a few moments, and I'm going to say Norwich 4-0.
Norwich 4-0?
Yep. We've owed a team a battering at some point in the season.
James?
Sorry?
Timmy Puku's going to score a couple.
Yeah, well done. So I think we're due to demolish a team. So that's why I'm going to say it. So yeah, if you want to get involved in the Super 6, then feel free to do so. Adam, I think we're going to draw this evening to a close. It's been a really, really good show. I've enjoyed it. And a massive thank you for Stephen for coming on tonight's show. And thank you so much for everyone who has joined us this evening. As I said, I know it's that interim between Christmas and New Year, and there are things that people probably want to be doing instead, maybe sitting down to watch a film or whatever the case may be. But we really appreciate everyone who's come on tonight, and for everyone for getting involved in the comment section and getting involved in the chat. The chat's been really good tonight. The conversation has been really positive, and it's been nice to get everyone's opinions on it. There's a few regulars who haven't commented, which is absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? That's absolutely fine. But it's been really good. I've enjoyed tonight, and it's been good to get back into the swing of things after having a few days off. Because, as I said, mentally, I needed to have that time over Christmas just to completely switch off and just be done. So it's been nice. What have you made of it?
Well, I hope the mental health side of things. I hope that we've started the conversation now. That needs to happen. And I think that over the coming weeks, we'll probably continue that conversation around mental health. As we look to try and keep everyone fresh and keep things going, because this is week 1 of Tier 4. So we know that there's other challenges ahead of ourselves, but it's about staying positive and keep doing what we do really every single day. And as we said earlier, keep setting those goals and keep trying to achieve something for ourselves or those around us to keep us in the best place that we can. It will be hard, but we're all on side, and just make sure that if you're struggling and you feel able to reach out, if you feel able to reach out to someone that you haven't heard from in a while, reach out to them and find a way to communicate with them. Let's start January off in the right way. Because if we start talking to people now, it'll be easier to maintain it. It's always a lot harder to speak to people if you've left it 4 weeks and then wonder why you haven't heard a peep from them.
Definitely.
But we'll be here every Monday. We'll try and talk about something different every week. If we get many more requests for Irv to come on, I think we'll just have to literally drag him on somehow. I need to reach out. He's a very well requested guest, so I've got some ideas, and we'll do everything we can to keep bobbing along and keep the conversation going.
Definitely. As I said, I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. I hope the show has helped you in any way, shape or form. Hopefully it's been a bit of an escape from what has been going on over Christmas. Whatever your plans are for New Year, whether or not you're on Zoom, whether or not you're just sitting in with a film, whatever the case may be, whatever it is you're doing, I hope you'll have a lovely New Year's Eve. Remember, stay safe, keep up positivity. DMs are open. Come and chat to us if you need us. We will be back on the 4th of January for the next show. And this has been a great way to have episode 20 in the book. So really, really appreciate everyone coming on tonight. And until next time, as always on the show, adios.